One thing he was sure of for now: they were part of the adventure for now. And he needed them. As if higher things were speaking through them. When he woke up, the black dog of the policeman was staring at him. He always loved this wolf dog. He told the whole dream to the policeman. He believed him instantly. His advice was to stay away from the magicians for a while, to see how things would turn out. The years after this dream were years of silence. The friendship between him and the policeman grew every day. He tried to forget about the dream and all which happened. It was like everything wasn't important anymore. He just tried to live with the things he loved. That which was remained. He still had his doubts about everything. Was it all true? He tried to pick up the things which were most important for him. Nature. The forests. It was still attracting him after all these years. He studied biology and technology. This was an amazing challenge for him. He loved his study. Both sides. And he loved to integrate these two. For him it was like these two directions were married very happily. He wanted to bring something on the market as a product of these two interests together. He was thinking about a new line of technology responding to the fine electricities of trees. He had a lab in the place he lived, where he had invented such a scanner which could catch the vibrations of trees, producing signals on their special frequency zone. It took him years to find and rate the different wave indexes of different trees, and the patterns of communication together with the interaction between these different layers. He had formed the scanner into a box which could store these energies and transform these to use them for different instruments. This would be a possible way to get rid of environment pollution. The policeman was very enthusiastic about the box, and he encouraged him to keep working on it. Chapter 5. Moving mosaic. Years later he had invented already a lot of instruments totally working by stored tree energy. He had invented a tree energy-based computer with internet and virtual reality. It became a revolution on Earth and smashed the pollution down like never before. Many factories started to switch over to this new form of electricity use. Anthony became the hero of the society, but he didn't like all this attention. He was glad he still lived so isolated. And he loved to make trips through the forest sleeping in a tent, to stay close to the trees. Once in a while the policeman went with him, together with the dog. They loved to be in nature. Anthony felt safe here. And this was his place. He got so much inspiration. The revolution went on. And soon the whole society worldwide was based on tree energy. It was a new industrial revolution. It also became a medical revolution. One started to implant tree-based microchips and organs into the bodies of humans. Everything seemed to come into the direction of a tree-based cybernetic society. The tree-based cyborg was born. Anthony was already working on a new project in cooperation with some astronomers. Anthony was developing a conductor for planetary electricities. He wanted to have planetary computers and cyborgs here on Earth, for more possibilities and for a deeper removal of the different sorts of pollution. The program succeeded, and soon enough he came in contact with other Earths deep in the universe. He had developed a sort of decoder to translate incoming waves into sensory information. Different sensor bases were adapted to this system, and soon enough he was able to set tree energies into voice wave. He heard different patterns, although he didn't know this language. It would be a long journey to find out what the exact language of trees was. He found a way to set voice into vision, and it was like he could look right into the brains of trees. It looked like mosaic. It was like moving powders, very symmetric, but sometimes very chaotic. He could stare at it for hours, trying to understand what it meant. It was beautiful. It was like the screens were dancing. The policeman was amazed. He had taken his son with him, who suffered from terrible headaches since a long time. When the boy was watching the moving mosaic, he started to scream, "Dad, my headaches are moving away." Anthony had found a new medicine. Doctors were amazed about the program. Many people got healed from all sorts of chronic diseases while watching the moving mosaics. It became a new medical revolution. People started to write books about the tree mosaics, explaining what it meant. But it was of course all very speculative. No one exactly knew the meaning of this language. But they knew one thing: it worked. Soon enough many scientists started to work in the project. A major change was coming into all layers of society: religion, education, politics, science, and many more. Wave after wave of revolution entered Earth. It was a breakthrough in total evolution. Scientists were developing a system to set the moving mosaics into smell. By this system one could bring the healthy flavors of trees everywhere. Also the higher forms of smell which couldn't be traced by human noses could be translated into the present frame of nose sensitivity, but scientists wanted to recreate the nose by their genetic experiments. The frequency borders of human organs and cells needed to be stretched out. The effect of this new science was that human beings became taller and more sensitive, so that everything would be refined, deeper digested. Humans became thinner. It was like the elves were returning to Earth. Anthony still had the face of a young boy, while he was already 46. He was worshipped in society, but he led a silent life. He was still a forest man. It was like he was growing younger every day. He was very skeptical at the books about the language of trees. He still didn't know what their message was. He was still searching for an answer. He was now working on a project to conduct in-section electricities, and soon enough he could set the incoming patterns into visual information. It was a strange mosaic. It was wilder than what he got from the trees, and it was like little sharp lines mixed through each other. It was a wild dance he saw, and he had the feeling someone really wanted to talk to him. But he tried to ignore these feelings. He wanted to be in peace. He wanted rest, staying pure scientific. But the screams became wilder and wilder. Finally he put it off, for it was like the screams were almost exploding. The instruments were already overheated. He spoke about it to the policeman, who advised him to stay away from it, to give it in the hands of young enthusiast scientists not afraid of some adventures. Anthony smiled. He was so glad about his advisement, who was his friend for so many years. He decided to take an extra holiday, to go to the mountains for some deep rest. He felt satisfied, but he really needed to take some rest now, and really enjoy nature, instead of thinking too much. It was like his brains were overheated too. He would go together with the policeman and his son, and also a friend of that son. He really wanted to relax for a while, only talking about stupid things, making jokes, and drinking some good wine. The friend of the policeman's son was a real clown, so he could use that. Years later Anthony got into a very silent marriage, having a very silent woman. He was now 51, and his wife was 53. She was his rest and peace. She was everything to him. She tried to take him away from his heavy job. They made a lot of trips together. They had some good friends, but not too much. They lived in a very large house, far from society. A house near to the forests. One evening Anthony was very tired and wanted to go bed earlier. His wife would stay up to do the laundry and some other jobs in the house. He didn't know that she was a member of the White Rabbit conspiracy. They still had the mission to destroy him, but this lady had really the intention to torture him in the cruelest sense. She wanted to burn him. While he slept she was putting wristlets and shackles to chain him to the bed. After that she put on the light, having a lucifer in her hand, lighting a candle. Anthony woke up and got the shock of his life. He screamed, "Why are you doing this to me?" All memories of his past flashed through his mind. She said, "Listen, you stupid fox." And then the policeman entered him with his black dog. He was so glad. But he started to smile at him. It was like a nightmare. Even his friend the policeman seemed to be his enemy. It was just a spy. Just an infiltrator. A member of the White Rabbit cult. The policeman took the candle and put it below the curtains, which started to come into flames. Soon enough the room was getting in fire, and they were gone. Anthony was shaking and wrestling on his bed, like he was in fight with a snake, but he couldn't get rid of the ties. While the flames were heading for his bed now, he screamed like he never screamed before. His body became hot. His feet were already in flames. It was like he was exploding inside, like all his organs were getting smashed. No, he shrieked. He woke up in a hospital. "Where am I?" he asked.